I'm very excited to welcome back semi-regular designer here on Adobe Live, design educator. You probably know her from her tutorials and online sort of social presence, maybe used her templates before. It's Hannah Bacon. Hi, Hannah.
Hello, how's it going?
I'm good. I feel like you're in a new setup, which I didn't say anything about before, but I'm really desperate to talk about when we went live. It looks awesome.
Yeah, we moved from Dubbo, which is like central New South Wales, to Newcastle.
Yeah.
It's much more like a city. And we sold our house and now we're in a rental. So this setup is actually like a false wall.
Oh, nice. I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really good. Yeah. But now I've like let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's all very staged, but that was kind of the point of it. So yeah, similar setup to before, but just kind of slightly rearranged.
Yeah. Well, I always love all the greenery.
I'm glad I'm pulling it off.
Oh, sorry. What did you say? I missed you. I interrupted.
I'm glad I'm pulling it off.
Yeah, totally pulling it off. And I think all the greenery really helps. Every time I see that, I'm like, ugh. But anyway, I'll have a new space soon. Let's move on. For those who are not familiar with you, Hannah, do you want to give us a little bit of the Hannah Bacon elevator pitch, and then we'll jump into the content today? Because I know we've got a lot of cool stuff to see. I'm very excited for this topic, but I'll let you talk about it as well.
I'm excited too. This is really fun, this topic. I'm a graphic designer. I've been designing for over 10 years. I think it's relevant to mention I worked in a print shop, so I love like tactile printed materials.
You did a lot of different things. You did education. You worked in a print shop as well. Okay.
Yes, I've worked as a painter.
Oh, wow.
I've worked in a record store. I played in a band.
Oh my God, you're the ultimate hipster. That is so cool.
Yeah, that's so true.
Did you have an emo phase or a grunge phase?
Oh, I unfortunately am still in my emo phase. I don't think I can't get rid of it.
That's awesome.
And I see the kids with like My Chemical Romance t-shirts and I'm like, you have no idea. You were not there.
You were not there for the Black Parade. Come on.
That's it.
I was there. I was molded in it.
You were there, yeah. Torched in the fire.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just do a lot of branding stuff, lots of fun, bright, bold, colorful things. I've had a great opportunity to work with a lot of fun brands as well. And I love texture and color and branding and all of those elements coming together. And it's always nice to bring those like tactile elements into the digital space. I think now more than ever, like we're online, we're working digitally. So we're going to look at some risograph printing techniques.
So not to throw you on the bus, but now that I know that you used to work for like a printer as well, you might know the answer. So what is a risograph? Like, do you have that in your pocket ready to go? Should I Google it or?
I have a website.
I thought you might. Yeah, because I'll be honest, I don't actually really understand the technique and I understand exactly what it means now in a digital, but I have no idea the history or where it's from. So yeah, I'd love to find out about this. It's so cool.
It is. It's awesome. So we've got some examples here, like this really grainy, textured, flat colors interacting with each other, printed onto like usually uncoated paper. I don't know what happens if you print it onto coated paper actually. But all this kind of like overprint, messiness, misregistration going on. This is a great example with the fluoro inks as well. So it's like using spot colors essentially. So you can get some in ways limited effects by palette, but you can get some really fun like bold effects as well. So this is sort of a nice diagram of how the Riso machine works. It's kind of like a photocopier. It was from Japan, and it's kind of environmentally friendly and it's cheap to kind of do those small to mid-sized runs of projects using spot color ink. And they create this stencil using rice paper. They perforate it, sort of like screen printing.
Right.
They wrap it around a drum, which is full of ink, and then the sheet rolls under the drum, making an impression on that piece of paper. And so full disclosure, I've never printed Riso before, but I've worked in a print shop, so I've got some idea of like what the inside of a print machine looks like. But I think you can have two colors in a machine, or you can do multiple passes. And each one of those, you have a different screen to print those different inks. So you can kind of use overlaying effects. Yeah. And you get some really, really nice, really inky effects with those really small, like very, very small dots in that stencil. But you can also add on top some halftone effects, make it a bit chunkier. And they've got something called grain touch, which you add to your stencil to give it even like chunkier kind of look. It's a bit more random, so you're not getting that, I can't remember what it's called. You know when the lines like kind of line up on a screen and stuff?
Oh, like offset?
Like that, not offset, it's like meal, I don't know. I think it might be French. It's got like a little thing on the end, on the top of the E.
Oh, okay. We're getting fancy.
Yeah, but it's like a weird effect that happens when you've got too many like kind of stencils on top of each other that have aligned like in the same way.
Right.
Like that kind of weird warped effect. And so adding some kind of random grain helps with that. And yeah, so it's basically screen printing meets stamping in a way.
Right. Yeah. That's a cool way to think about. Well, that's great. That's super cool. I love that little animation that we got to see. It's always good to see something like that as a little explainer.
Amazing. I can't take any credit for that whatsoever. And so this is what we're working on today. We're using a photograph. We're going to be working in Photoshop. I'm just in Illustrator to give a rundown of kind of the bits and pieces of the artwork, so you can kind of get your head around where we're going with it before we kind of dive in. But I will kind of mention, this is for tomorrow. So this is what we're going to do in Illustrator tomorrow.
Cool.
But there's some like effects that are notorious with the Riso printing that we kind of want to take those elements and then put that into our digital artwork, so it looks a little more authentic to that style. So we've got something called, so these are our solid shapes. We've got overprint, where I've just set those to multiply.
I see.
And you get that, that showing through, so the blending of the colors. And this is something called ink trapping, where you could just leave your circle that size, but because Riso has a tendency, because it has to do multiple passes through the machine, has a tendency to misregister. This kind of prevents that the best it can. Like you can have it sitting kind of there.
Right.
But it's nice to lean into that a little bit too. Like this kind of feels nice and earthy. Just being mindful of colors on top of colors. Like if you want the yellow to stand out, obviously you're going to have to think about how that's going to layer.
Right.
And then also fine line work.
Yeah.
So these very general principles are going to guide our approach to making it look authentic, especially in tomorrow's session with Illustrator.
Yeah, cool. And so, for people joining in, it's kind of like Photoshop first to kind of get this effect, and then later bringing something into Illustrator to kind of finalize the process. Yeah.
So we're kind of looking at like a crunchier, I mean, this is kind of low res because I didn't want my computer to crash. But this is like a kind of crunchier. We've got some half tones in there. It's a little like dirtier textures and stuff. Obviously raster based. So we're going to be working in 2 sets of duotones. So with Riso, you're kind of separating your channels essentially. You're not just printing one image at once. You've got to come up with the different colors and the color combinations, and it can be a little bit like, I don't know how to get a purple and blue out of this CMYK image. Like what do I do to assign that? And so we're going to look at how we can achieve that in Photoshop. So we've actually separated these 2 elements out, and you can see they're not exact copies of each other. It's like a duotone image or version of that image. And then we've done the same for the background, just to make it a little more dynamic, but have those sets of inks like interacting with each other. And we're going to chuck a bunch of textures and effects on top, and then pull it all together and see what happens.
That's awesome. This looks cool. Yeah. This looks cool as it is.
It's messy, but yeah. So I might just jump out of Illustrator now because we're not going to jump back in until tomorrow, but we are going to create some assets that we will use tomorrow for our work in Illustrator. So I've got my image open, which I just grabbed from, I think it's Pixabay, which is just a free image to use basically. But first of all, we're going to jump across and start creating some textures for the project before we start working on it, just to get that out of the way. So I'm going to create a 1500 by 1500. Oh, I'm still in Illustrator. That makes sense. Yeah, I was just like, hang on, how many upwards do I want? I freaked out a little bit. I was like, Photoshop doesn't have upwards, but I think it does, doesn't it? Can you do upwards in Photoshop?
I don't think so. Oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my Adobe license here. Hang on.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Oh yeah, you can.
You can. It's crazy because like I can't. My brain is just like raster images.
I've never done that in Photoshop in all my days.
I think I did. I tried it once and it was just like too much to cope. Too much to cope with. So I'm setting up a 1500 by 1500 tile because I found that gives the best results. But it really depends on your output. Like you might just have to mess around with the settings and stuff. RGB 300 PPI. That's my dog. Yeah, we're just going to start with a kind of like a mid-gray. Maybe I'll make it a little darker actually. And what we're doing is we're creating a texture that we can then use as a pattern overlay in Photoshop and then in our artwork in Illustrator. So I'm going to go up here to filter. It's basically just a grey square. And I'm going to convert to smart filters so that we don't have to go through the process again for our second texture that we're going to make. So I'm now working with, all right, we're going to just chuck that in for a second. So we've got our sketch panel open and I'm actually going to click on reticulation.
Oh.
And so what we're looking for is like this really nice, like grainy looking effect. And they don't print the inks at like say 100% full coverage because the paper can't quite handle it. You end up with like wet paper and jamming in the machine and your printing professional is extremely upset.
Right.
So it's always like there's a lot of opacity to it. So we're looking for this like kind of inky look, maybe going a bit darker, where it's like it's coverage, but it's not full coverage. And so to do that, we've got reticulation. And then I'm going to come down here and click new effect layer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to jump into distort and we're going to go glass. And this is, so without that glass effect, it's pretty, it's not, it is still random, but it's kind of like a little too uniform and smooth. So what we're doing is we're using distortion, the glass to like distort it and give it this kind of like, almost like this, like it's blending together a little bit more. You can kind of play with the scaling and distortion and stuff. I think that's pretty good. I mean, it doesn't look like much right now, does it? It's not like overly promising, but trust the process. All right, so that's our like grainy effect. I'm gonna jump up and duplicate this, head back into filter gallery. And we're going to create a halftone version of that. So that like really chunky, more intentional halftone where you've actually set your artwork up like that. We'll come in a little bit. So we'll turn the glass off so we can just get a gauge on how it's looking. And when we use these patterns, we're able to scale them up and down when applying them. So we're going for like a larger pattern. So it looks like quite small at the moment, like condensed at the moment, but we can zoom it up when we use it.
Right.
But the smaller it is right now, the easier it is to create a seamless pattern with it in about 1 second. So we're going to keep it at around 2. We want that contrast, and then I'll jump in and add this glass effect again. But I'm going to pull that all the way down to like there.
Oh, cool.
So you can see it's got that kind of like, yeah, bleedy
halftone.
Kind of, yeah, adjust the, maybe if we go like this, and then the smoothness. No, that's not going to do it. Yeah, that kind of chunky, like inky printed effect. So it's not just like, doesn't look like it just came straight out of the computer.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we zoom in, we've got that halftone, which is what we want. Okay. So now I'm going to, we might just close, let's just call this ink, and we'll call this halftone. Oh, sorry, I'll call this grain. That'll make more sense. We'll work with the halftone at the moment. So what we're going to do is head into filter, other, offset, and we need to create a seamless pattern with it. So you can kind of slide this around until you can find these edges. Sometimes they're like quite hard to see, especially in the next one.
Right.
And that's then, let me just do that again. So I've got wraparound selected. And what that's done is it's offset the pattern so that we've pulled those edges kind of into the center. So we know that the edges around are now a seamless pattern when you butt it up against other tiles of the pattern.
Right.
But we've got this kind of like darker line in there, which is not ideal. So we can go in with, and this can be I wouldn't say time consuming, but like it's good to pay attention. Well, actually it doesn't look too bad. We'll just see what happens when it's going to ask me to rasterize it. And so I would save a version to make sure.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so we just kind of use our spot healing tool. That looks all right. Yeah, to like get rid of it. Can you guys see that kind of straight line type of thing in there?
I can see it. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you guys can see it.
Like, you take your time. You make sure you're not ending up with like any warbles or anything. But like bit by bit.
It's almost like a seam like on a couch or something. Like it's kind of just this kind of faint line.
Yeah, and so like just clean it up a little.
How good's the spot healing brush tool become over time? It's so good.
It is. Like what would we do without it? I think like, has it changed much?
I think it's gotten a lot better. Over time, because I've used it a bunch of times, even in the AI kind of revolution that we're going through, and I found it to be just as useful a lot of the time to kind of fix things up. So I think it's been enhanced quite a bit.
I totally agree. And I had a go at creating these textures with Adobe Firefly, and I found that just doing it manually was a lot easier because you can control it to that kind of precision that you need. Yeah. Right, and then so we do it with this one again, filter, offset, and you can see the theme in there. Obviously getting in there, taking your time. We'll rasterize it for now, and like cleaning that up. Nice. And then once, especially when you're in Illustrator, like when we do Illustrator tomorrow, we just check that when we scale it down, we're not getting those faint lines. It can be frustrating, but once you fixed it, you fixed it. That's it. Right. You save your pattern. And then so I would be saving those out as 1500 by 1500 pixel JPEGs in RGB, essentially. So we do have those saved already. So I'm not going to go ahead and do that because I did actually take my time to make sure that I had gotten all those seams kind of erased. Perfect. All right. So then we would open up our image. It will work on an illustration. Like it just depends on if you're targeting certain areas to pull out of it. I just saved time by, again, manually masking this. I did try the select subject, but I always find it easier to go in and do it by hand. I think I'm probably the only person that still does that. Anyway. I do it quite a lot. It depends on the thing, I think. Yeah, sometimes you get and it came close, but to go in and like play around with the masks and stuff, I'm like, I may as well just get the pen tool out and do it.
It's funny, yeah. I think that might be the illustrator and the kind of graphic design educator in you from like a certain like generation. Like we just got really good at the pen tool, and then there was people I think after it that didn't. If you didn't get into Illustrator, like crafting like logos or typography and stuff, you might have missed some of those like skills that come through.
That's so true.
I always find it funny looking back on it because I think I do it exactly the same way too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we're of that generation.
We're of the like, okay, how do I figure out how Photoshop works? It's like, well, if it works this way in Illustrator, let me grab the pen tool. Oh, it works the same way. Okay, great. Maybe I'm okay in this application.
Yes. That's it. Oh, I really like that you've been able to like unpack that thought process right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And maybe I just don't understand the way that the newer tools work, and it's not like as intuitive.
Yeah, well, I see like photographers do it in a very different way as well. Like photographers are very much like that. Cool, let's select this subject and then often open it up and kind of blend it in a different kind of gradient kind of way that I can't do very well. Like I don't have their eye. Yeah.
They know something I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to jump into image mode and come down to CMYK color. So we're going to say don't flatten. And then yes, okay. Because I want to keep my masked shape there. But if I was doing this, just taking my time, I would be masking it once I've finished working on separating these plates or stencils out. So we're essentially creating one for each color that we want to use, and this will be a 4-color artwork. So we're going to jump into, unlock that. With this selected, we're going to jump into channels, and so I converted it to CMYK from RGB, even though our final output is RGB, because I want those 4 channels. Those 4 channels are my duotone 1 for the cassette player and duotone 2 for the background. And so that's what my thinking is eventually these are going to be combined into 2 sets of layers. And I read on the internet that cyan and black work well together, and then magenta and yellow work well together. So that's kind of what I went with.
Nice.
So our first kind of approach here is to click onto our cyan channel, and so layers channel, and then select all. Then I'm going to jump back with that selected, create a new layer. We're going to turn this off just so I can double check that it's pasting the way I want it to. We're going to go edit, and then we're going to go, oh, sorry. I think I've missed a step. We've got cyan channel, select all on the cyan channel, edit, copy merged. Then we're going to jump back into layers, new layer, deselect everything and paste. And so that's just copied the cyan.
This is one of those tricky things that Photoshop does where you can't visually see what you're doing. You have to kind of follow it step by step. So you're selecting just the cyan, anything that was registering as cyan, and pasting it. You can't quite see that you're actually doing it. So you have to really focus on the steps.
Yeah, that's it. I've got them written down in front of me.
Totally. Yeah. It's necessary, I think, for this kind of technique. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we've got, and then labeling it as well. Like label it. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Label it. So we'll switch this layer back on, head back in. We'll grab the black, select all, edit, copy merged, new layer, just to make sure that we're actually pasting what we want to be pasting. Yes.
Nice.
And then we go black. Okay. And back in here. Let's see if I can do it super quick. Do magenta. Oh, now that I've said that, I'm like, wait, what do I do now? Uh-oh. Copy merged. Paste. That was magenta. There we go. And then yellow. Select all. Copy merged. And the yellow. Okay.
Nice.
So we've got our layers, and if we actually toggle them all on, they're all in. I think they'll be in black and white, will they? If we like multiply them all, you can see the image kind of comes back to life with those, except not in color, which is what we want. That's exactly what we want. So we've got our separations. We've got our 4 color separations. We're going to select our masked shape as well, although we could do this in the next step, but I'm just trying to save.
Sorry, is it just the top 3 that are layers that are in multiply, or did you catch cyan then? Because I'm not sure. Oh yeah, you did. Okay, cool.
I think cyan.
Yeah, sorry.
I did that first, and then I did the other.
Okay, cool. I was just making sure. I didn't want to get
get
to like wrapping up the stream. Like I have no idea what went wrong in that step.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good. You're all over it.
25 minutes ago. Okay, so we're going to select all of these, right click, and then duplicate layers. And I think you can come up, actually, it's in layer, duplicate layers, into a new document, just to keep it clean. And then we're going to call it Riso Photo. All right, so that's our existing one. This is our new one that we can kind of play around with. Okay, so we're going to add some halftone effects to it now. At this point, we need to go back into our image mode. And for these effects to be most effective, we need to put it into grayscale. So we're changing the color mode, and we're going to go don't merge into grayscale. Turn that off. And one by one, we're going to work on adding a halftone effect to each of these plates, essentially. I don't know if they're called plates in Riso. I think I'm thinking of like 4-color process printing. But anyway, these like stencils. So we'll go filter.
Yeah, like a screen print stencil or something.
Exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right. We're going to convert for smart filters just so we can mess around with it if we want to. Filter. So we've converted for smart filters, then we're going to go into filter gallery, and hopefully once we've like got it looking pretty nice, we don't have to play around with the settings too much for the other ones. I think that's pretty good. Like I feel like we could jump back into halftone, and just depends on how chunky we want it to look. So Riso is like quite fine dots. It's definitely intentional to get that chunky halftone look. But it's also like a lot of fun, and that's the look we're going for. So maybe
nice.
I think that's maybe too dark. Okay, these little bits in the speakers here. I think there's just so much going on that they kind of. Oh yeah, that's our halftone. We're getting that kind of weird pattern. That's kind of what I was talking about before. But because we've like got halftone on the graded image, I think that's just where we're at with that. And then the glass again gives it that kind of like little bit more organic looking. We just move this and like put it. That's too much. Maybe we kind of leave it. I don't know. That's pretty chunky. We go with that, but it's a smart filter, so we can always come back and change it. Okay, so that was on cyan, and then we'll go black as well, because the black and the cyan will link together, and we'll use that on our cassette player. And so same thing, filter, convert for smart filters, filter, filter gallery, and it's just chucked the same effect, and you can play around with each one, but we're going to leave it just because we could be here for the rest of time.
So is that copying the settings, is it?
Yeah.
Or you're previously used? Yeah, so cool.
That's right. But because we've got those channels separated out, every time we play around with a different one, it adds a different set of halftones. So you can see here we've got information that's missing. Turn it on, and then we've picked up a whole bunch of extra information there.
Yeah, cool.
And so we're going to link these two. Actually, we're going to hold off on that for 1 second. Turn this off. All right, this will be our background. So we'll kind of like focus on Kevin in the back here. Who's Kevin? Convert.
Kevin's made it to the big time now. You're on Adobe Live.
I really wonder. Filter gallery. Gonna chuck it on. Yeah, here we go. And then we'll do the same the yellow, filter, convert. Oh, that makes sense. Interesting. It was not toggled on. There we go. And this one looks like really, really washed out, but it's those like lighter tones.
Right.
So it's kind of picking up on that lighter color. So we've got, if we turn all of these back on. We've got that added depth in the background too. So you can see that some elements have completely been pulled out.
Yeah.
And they're just on the yellow channel. So I'm going to go down here and grab our masked shape. So I just cut around the shape. I mean, if you're exceptionally talented with the select subject tools, then you could use that. Then I'm just going to turn it off. And we've got the cassette player selected. So I'm just going to chuck a layer mask onto that. Select the same thing. Then on the black, chuck a layer mask onto that. I'm doing them separately because we're going to get those two colors to be slightly offset from each other. So we want to isolate those two colors together. We don't want to apply it to the folder. So this we go. I think I spelled that right. And then this one we're going to mask out that cassette player.
Right.
Turn that off. Select inverse and chuck a layer mask on that. And I'm just holding Command and clicking on the layer mask to make that selection. And then doing the same thing. We'll chuck those in a folder and we'll call the background.
So using your previously like cut out version and then selecting the layer that you want to get the exact same mask, like the same selection.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes. So I'm holding down Command, hovering over that thumbnail, and you can see the little hand's got that marquee come up around it, and then click on it and it will select whatever's in that layer. And then to select the inverse, you just head up here to select inverse, and it will then select everything except what's in that layer.
Nice.
Turn it on. Cool. So we've got our separations, which is nice. First thing we're going to work on is this. We're actually going to chuck a paper texture in the background. And I wish I had $1 for every single time I've used a paper texture in Photoshop, because I'd have like $100. All right. And so this is just to kind of, oh yeah, there we go.
Okay, it's subtle.
Yeah. We're going to add some kind of effects onto those different color versions. Chuck another paper over the top, chuck an ink texture over the top as well.
Right.
So,
Okay, I see. We're layering it. I get it.
We're going to get there.
Very
But you
cool.
can always go in and adjust it as well to your preferences. I wouldn't say my strongest suit is like getting those paper textures to work, because I know some people just like do it so authentically. So I would say there's like so many tutorials and stuff out there where you could really dig into that texture element as well. Okay, so we've got this happening. Happy. It's in grayscale still. So I'm going to now change the color mode because we need to bring the color back in. So those filters worked best on grayscale images, but we're going to change it to RGB just because we are now working in our output color mode, which is don't merge. I'm going to say don't rasterize. There we go. Does that work? Oh, here we go. RGB. So the idea is like you're posting it online or something. I think, okay, let's assume that we've saved a copy of this and we'll just rasterize it to keep life simple. And now you can see that we've got these two separate elements, but we need to get them with a bit of color going on. So just to the side of this layer, going to double click, come into color overlay. I'm just thinking, actually, I think there's a better approach for this. Sorry. We're going to use hue and saturation because I think the color overlay, you still get a bit of black in some colors. So we're in hue and saturation, sorry. Ooh. So if I double click that, we're going to colorize through hue and saturation. So we've clipped it just to the layer below. I'm going to go colorize. Oh, we need to turn this bad boy off. Okay, lighten it up. And then we can kind of use our color sliders to get that color. So now we don't have any black in there, which you wouldn't have because it's not mixing with the black. It's just a solid, like a spot color,
right,
essentially. And you can kind of go through here and pick up any colors you want. We're going to kind of use as a reference these inks here. So there are standard inks that you use for riso printing. And some of them I saw some of them were used quite a lot, like the fluoro pink, the green, Kelly green, the violet, and like the really fluoro bright colors as well.
right.
So we're gonna, I think there's a sunflower as well. So, and these is all just online. I looked up Riso inks. I also created a palette in my Adobe libraries for tomorrow, just to make it super easy. I wonder if it's going to show up here. Oh yeah, here we go. So these are all our ink colors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but using the hue saturation overlay, I don't know if you can actually, oh, you can. I did not realize that. I just learned something.
Oh, cool. What did you learn?
I learned that, okay, let's grab this hex code here. We jump back into the hue and saturation adjustment layer, and I double click that, which I don't know if that's new and I've just never noticed it, and paste and see. Has that kind of given me that layer? I don't know. Oh yeah, sort of. So we're kind of mimicking those colors, but to kind of make it look authentic. So we've got like I think that was just called blue on our top one. All right. And we're now going to chuck these into a folder with the name of the color that we're using, so that we can kind of, I think that was the wrong one. Yeah, these two into a group called blue. So it can get a bit confusing. That's why I'm like naming as I'm going. I'll turn this off, turn the cyan on, and we're going to make the cyan the purple, like violet color. We're going to flip it down. That's what it's called. Colorize, jump back into our library and grab this color code, the violet. I don't know. I feel like there's opportunity to make this work, but I'm not about to do it right now.
Yeah, I think that dot must be new. I vaguely remember seeing it. I think they populate across as well for like somehow, but I can't remember what the purpose is. I totally should.
And then can I like drag it? I don't know. Hopefully someone knows and they can let us know. But at least we've got this little color reference here, which is kind of nice. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because we're not, sending it to a printer and being like, this is the spot ink. Even if you did that, they would just be like, send me grayscale. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't supply you might do it in spot colors or something. But yeah, so we're just gonna make it a fun looking, we'll call it violet just to keep the separations. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I think we're just gonna keep working on these ones and put the pattern on so we don't run out of time. And then if we can, we'll go back and do the background. You can see how it's got different information coming through. So we've got purple showing here. even though they're not set to multiply yet. So I set those folders to multiply. It's a duotone image, it's not just one color. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to double click on the layer, head into pattern overlay, and I defined my swatch as a pattern. So I went edit, define pattern when we had that other layer open, other window open, and it will save that seamless pattern into Photoshop for you to use in this panel here. So it will actually pop up here, and I've got a couple of different ones kind of trying out. You can see that halftone in there, but what we're looking for is that really inky look. We're going to go screen. You can kind of play with the scaling there, maybe like that. Okay, and it's kind of like it's not getting the full effect, and that's because we need to come into this one as well and add the pattern overlay as well. Maybe that needs to be like a little bit smaller. Let's pull that down a little bit. So we're gonna get it kind of getting that like overlaid look.
Yeah.
That inky look. And you could go to town. Like you could have a bunch of different textures. You could get that brain touch texture going. You could really like lean into it. So I'm going to just like now offset it. So all I've done is just kind of picked it up and pulled it to the side. And that's given it that offset. I mean, that's crazy. I would take that back. If someone printed that for me, I'd be like, you are doing that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just like giving that kind of like, where it's slightly
off. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what we would do, we head into our background. Adjustments, hue and saturation, colorize, bump it up. Get it looking yellow, pull the lightness up, that is not yellow. That's pretty nice. All right. Yellow is called yellow. That's nice. And then we will add our pattern overlay to that. We're just going to keep the same settings. And then we'll do the same with this version of the background. Colorize. Oh, pink. We're going to make it that fluoro pink, which I just love the fluoro pink. I think it's super fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We're kind of just like acting a little bit blind here anyway, but I've got to set it to multiply to get the full effect. Okay, so we've got our, there we go. All right, that's our background. And I wonder if, oh no, they're individually multiplied too, yeah. All right, so now we've got our, that's an aggressive pink. And I'm just going to see if it'll let me, no. All right, we're just going to kind of shift this background as well. So we're getting that like misalignment, misregistration. Come up here, and we're going to really pull this, the subject away from that cutout. So we're really getting that effect.
Yeah.
Of like those separations. And I think we might just match up that just a little bit, because I think it was a bit too far misregistered, because we want that kind of like white showing through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so we've got like this nice kind of cutout here.
Yeah, that was so cool.
And then all of this kind of like misregistration interacting here.
Yeah. And do you find that it needs to be like enough that it shows that it's intentional, but not so much that it's kind of too far, that whole graphic design thing? Yeah.
Yeah, where you can't actually understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make it a layer. So I might just turn this paper background off for a sec.
And I'll say we've got about
Shift
4 minutes
Option.
left until we need to kind of get set up
on
for
the
the
clock.
next stream. So heads up.
So I've just stamped that because with Rizzo, you're not like printing to the edges. So
Right, yeah.
over
I'd forget about
another
that
one of
making this, but it adds so much to it. Like
yeah, you
that
kind of get like, oh, it's
proper
like a
printing
print
quality.
on.
Yeah, it's like a photo,
Yeah.
like almost like a Polaroid or something.
And then I'm just gonna chuck this ink texture.
Yes.
So photocopy texture, good. Ink texture, good. You get that kind of even coverage. You're looking for something that's not like too chunked up anywhere with like too much ink, because it's actually quite even. And then maybe we'll go lighten and take it down a bit. And so you can really play with it. You can chuck a bunch. You could like even then give it some more halftones and stuff to kind of distort those straight edges.
Yeah, that background being offset looks awesome as well.
It's pretty fun. And I just love how you can kind of separate those elements. So it's not just like a double up of what you've got. It's like duotone images. Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Cool.
You could go in. I feel like that could be lightened up a little bit, but I'm not the paper texture pro, so I won't mess with it.
It's so cool, and like, you know, just on time. We've just got a minute to wrap up and kind of talk about the next stream, which will be tomorrow. So that was super awesome. Yeah, I think one of those step-by-step things where you do have to make sure you're doing each step exactly the right way, and you got to make sure you kind of get that process done right the first time, and then you can go, okay, now I can kind of get into autopilot. But do you want to talk about tomorrow? Because we'll be back with you again tomorrow, which is kind of a bit of a continuation on from this stream.
Yes, we are jumping into Illustrator tomorrow, and so we've got this like really dirty, gritty today. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at how do we do that in Illustrator, but it's a little bit more geometric, a little bit more simplified, less like dirty, but we've still got those textures and stuff, and we'll be playing with the appearance panel to be able to replicate the effects quickly onto different elements, and then also using gradients, because that's something they do in Rizzo printing, is they use those gradients, and I feel like they just look so good and so cool.
Oh, cool. I wasn't aware of the gradient aspect, so that'll be really cool. We'll jump in and we'll chat about that tomorrow. I'm very much looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Hannah. This has been an awesome stream. Stick around, folks. In 12 minutes, we'll be back with Joy, and so we're going to be jumping in, playing around with Firefly boards. And you may have heard of Nano Banana. We're going to go jump deep into AI territory. If you don't know what that is, stick around. It's a very weird naming thing for something that's incredibly powerful. So yeah, stick around for that. Hannah, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to our stream tomorrow.
Yeah, should be good. I'll see you then.
See you then. Bye, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.